Alright, so Roguelike Browser Boilerplate is a template project for making your own web browser-based roguelike game. In this series of screencasts, I'm showing you how you can customize different aspects of the boilerplate to make your own game. You can find the link to the boilerplate in the show notes below. So now I'm going to show you the basic, how to edit some of these basic UI elements, the title here and some of these screens. Let's get stuck right into it. I'm going to be using the Slingcode online editor to do this, so you can find it at slingcode.net. And all I'm going to do here is say upload zip file and load the zip. Now, I'm going to assume that you've downloaded the zip already from the Roguelike Browser Boilerplate itch site, and you'll get this zip file here. And that's what I'm uploading here. Once you've got the zip file into your editor, you can run that next to the code in this panel, and that gives you a nice view of what you're looking at, so you can edit the code and see what changes here. You can change the page title of the HTML file that gets loaded up. You can change that to, say, Super Rogue, and you can also change this title here by going into main.js, the JavaScript file. And right at the top, there's a variable called game title. And you can change my rogue to say Super Rogue. Let's save that one. Now you'll see it's updated here in the live view. It doesn't all fit on the screen now because we've added extra letters. So that's quite easy to fix. We just go into style.css here. And again, right at the top, there's the title font size. And at the moment it's 64 pixels, but we'll change that one to 48 pixels and save. And then we can see now that it's fitting on the screen. Other stuff we could change is, for example, let's say we didn't need this settings menu and we wanted to get rid of it. So we'll go back to the index.html, and you can go down to this section here, which is the title div. And within the title div, there's options div. So that's this list of options. And each label is one of these options. So we're just going to go ahead and find that settings label and take it out. So just delete that and hit save, and now we'll see that item has been removed. We can also edit, for example, we go to the credits and we'll change it to from by your name to put in your actual name, and we do that in index.html again. We can go down to the credit screen and say by Captain Awesome. Save that one, and now when we click into the credit screen, you can see that it says by Captain Awesome. What else can we change? Let's have a look. So you can also change the game icon. At the moment there's this icon.png, which is just this little guy, but in the index.html you can either change the icon link at the top of the file here, or you can just replace the icon.png with your own square icon. And then so the next thing you might want to look at if you really want to get stuck into it is changing, for example, this look of the UI. These corners and stuff are all rendered using nest.css. So if you remove that, you can see what it looks like without it, and it's pretty not great. So you can see it's just kind of like removed all the styling, but then you could obviously go in and change that to look the way you want. But we'll leave that one in there for now. The other thing you could do is change the font. So this is a font called Press Start 2p, and that's defined again right at the top of the style.css, Press Start 2p. And we could try loading this different font, VT323 from Google Fonts. Obviously you can load it from a different font API if you want. And then we'll change this one to say VT323 and save that, and we see it load up with this different terminal style font, and everything changes to the new font. Yeah, so obviously within this CSS file you can customize everything however you want. You can change the layout, you can change how the screens look. And finally, the last thing we'll look at is adding your own screens. So before we removed this the settings option, but let's say you wanted to have a new option which is called story, because you want to write the story of what your roguelike is. So in here you'd say story. I'm just going to actually change the font back because I like the old one better. Save that. So back in index.html, back down to the title div, and we've added our new label here called story. And that's going to add, when we save that, it's going to add a new menu item here, story. Now, if we click that, it won't actually do anything. It's gone to the instructions page. That's because our value here is instructions. So we need to add a new one called story. We'll save that. And then what we actually need to do is come down here to this settings screen and copy it. So that's the first menu there. That's the menu we're replacing. And we'll just create a new screen called story. We'll change this to story. And we'll say, this is the story of Super Rogue by Captain Awesome, etc. And change the title there to be story. And now when we click the story, we should see the story that we've written. This is the story of Super Rogue by Captain Awesome, etc. And obviously you can put in images here and stuff like that. So we could say, add an image here which has, we'll just add the icon in. But if you had other images in your project, you could have them here as well. And you can see that's that icon appearing there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for editing the user interface that comes with the boilerplate by default. Next up, I'll be taking a look at editing the graphics. So changing the tile set, etc. And having a look at how we can use our own graphics. Thanks very much for listening.